bottom feeders, I mean, you can eat them too. Polyculture makes sense in fish farming for the same reasons it makes sense in vegetable and fruit farming.
Well, the aquaculture, it seems like they're making more of like a mini ecosystem in their farms.
Well, especially because China has it integrated with the terrestrial system too. So they take those water nutrients and they put them back onto the land, and then they use the runoff to fertilize the fish farm. So it's not only integrated within the pond, but it is also integrated with their terrestrial system. Also at number 40, the benefits of shellfish. Way down on the food web, filter feeders, so they have water quality, fast growing. They stay put as long as they're going to swim away. They're usually native. Most people do not farm foreign shellfish because they're usually an edible local shellfish. Lots of benefits.
You were saying what was it, farm fish aren't the best for you to eat. They have higher toxins or whatever.
Farmed carnivorous fish amplify the pollution of their food web. This issue.
Yeah. So does that mean shellfish are fine?
Shellfish are usually as far down as you can get. Shellfish are algae to shellfish. No extra steps. Like, it would be algae, shellfish. So you get less magnification than even wild salmon, which is way less than farm salmon.
Okay.
Leave the world.
In number 43, there's a couple of examples of the same issue. I got to take a step back and remind you that you've heard this before. Why can you feed more people with corn than with cows?
Lower on the food web.
Lower on the food web. What do we call that concept?
Trophic levels?
Yes, but trophic efficiency or inefficiency, right? Now, I want to propose for you a dichotomy, and so I need to make sure that we're all on the same page. We agree that corn will yield more calories than corn fed to cows and yielding cow calories, correct? Let's go a step higher. What if we fed all those cows to wolves, and then we ate the wolves?
You'd only get
10% of their cow calories, right? Now, this is the problem with much of our seafood. Tuna and salmon are fish that prey on fish that prey on fish. So eating carnivorous fish is like eating something that hunts wolves. Is not very smart. A lot of ocean acreage wasted in a step, in another step, in another step, and then you eat that? As an obvious alternative, why not eat just plain old vegetarian fish? Catfish, tilapia. In number 43, they talk about vegetarian fish like tilapia and catfish. There are other choices. But vegetarian fish, you understand it's a matter of trophic efficiency. There's more ocean to go around if we eat vegetarian fish. More fish left over if we just eat the vegetarian fish instead of the thing that ate them. Okay, number 44, Tulare Lake is just one more example of turning seasonal wetlands into farms. Number 46, critical issue with the Kesterson Reservoir, and it's not the Kesterson Reservoir itself. What did this teach you about irrigation and farming?
Bad consistency.
But why?
concrete to build up the natural chemicals and elements.
That's right. The thing about Kesterson Reservoir is it taught us when you increase the water washing through the dirt, that'll increase the leaching of whatever was in that dirt. More irrigation, more leaching. So when your dirt has a little bit of toxic metals in it, like selenium, and you increase irrigation, you're going to get more selenium in your runoff. Remember, agricultural irrigation aggregates toxic solutes. The theory of Pleistocene overkill will come up often in this class. Number 47 is just a neat concept to think that cavemen caused tons of extinctions. Kind of a wacky thought, but it seems to be roughly accurate. I mean, now we can understand how our massive population and our technological and chemical chaos is causing extinctions. But to think that we caused extinction with like simple... Yeah, it's easier to drive to extinction the bigger stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, during the Pleistocene, there wasn't that many migratory routes because there was snowpack all over the place. So the coastlines was pretty much the only habitat left in many temperate regions. And so as cavemen were forced to migrate during the Ice Age, they basically were just like walking through the highway with all the big animals, and they just wiped them out. All right. P.S. We're now getting into the reading packet assignment. Don't say I didn't warn you, and I have warned you about this before. Your reading packet is giant in this unit. The only reason I waste all that paper is because there's a lot of details that didn't fit in somewhere else. Stars are not. Details are what gets you through the test. So look out. There's good details in that reader. That's why I killed like 40,000 square miles of trees for you. All right. 50 gets a star. 52 gets a star. And P.S., an interesting little bit of trivia for you. The Aswan Dam on the Nile River was one of the first major international conflicts over agricultural nutrients. Almost absurd, and had massive geopolitical implications. Goes with number 3, gets 1 star. And what do you call a country that grows food primarily for export? A banana republic. Is about the Green Revolution. That goes with 9, 34. I think another study goal that I can't remember. That gets 1 star. But I've got some facts to throw out for you that you might find interesting. I don't know if this is worth memorizing, but it is kind of neat. Remember that the Green Revolution was an intensification of food production all over the world. Like the internet and cell phone and motorcycles, good ideas spread fast. Now, I want to show you just how extreme the Green Revolution was. From the early 50s to the mid-70s, global food production tripled. But farmland only grew by about 20%. That means that per acre, we more than doubled agricultural yield. The only way to do that that is by putting in more inputs. So in that same period, fertilizer and pesticide increased tenfold. Irrigation tripled. And machinery, thus fossil fuels, exploded all over the globe. The Green Revolution was a huge tipping point for humanity. We got serious about food production. All right. Oh, by the way, you can probably give credit for the entire Green Revolution to one guy that just died a couple of years ago. His name was Norman Borlaug. And he was just like a agricultural scientist who was like, yeah, we just need more food and I'm going to solve this problem. And he led this research team that was just knocking down the objectives. They were like, we need better pesticides. We need more intensive, high yield dwarf varieties. And he just sort of lined it up, and his goal was to make more food for people. And he's one of the most historic humans you've never heard of. We tripled the food supply in 20 years. That's kind of a big whoop. Imagine if we could do that now. Yes, we can. Okay. 57 gets 3 stars. Solutions for long-term food security. 58 gets 1. 61 gets 2 stars. And if we have time, I'd like to come back and talk about it, but let's just finish with the stars. I said 61 gets 2 stars. Now, if you don't mind, I want to come back to 61, but very quickly. 63 gets 1. 64 gets 1. 65, 66, all of them all the way to 70. Get 1 each. In number 69, look out for those 3 fishing practices that are responsible for so much bycatch. And the thing I wanted to add about number 61, if I could change one thing about each of your lives to save the environment, if I could convince you to make one change in your generation, it would be this. You need to eat local food. There are many, many benefits, but the most obvious one that benefits everybody else on the planet, an average American meal travels over 1,500 miles. If you take all the ingredients and all the food we eat, and you average how far we ship them, it's 1,500 miles. Average. I don't know if you guys are good at math, but if you think about the weight of food you eat and that distance, you might understand something right away. Your diet transportation releases more carbon than your human transportation. If you eat local, you make more of an impact on global carbon than if you ride a bike instead of driving in a car. Everybody loves to talk about which car to buy. Nobody wants to talk about where their food comes from. And that's a shame. Because there are many other benefits to a local food supply. For one thing, it tastes better. It hasn't been sitting in a box on the bottom of an airplane, in the back of a truck, and trains and automobiles for the last week and a half. International transport of food,